This is Dan Connolly with Know Your O's. I'm here with Mark Trumbo, one of the newest Orioles, and certainly one that's gotten going pretty hot so far. So, first of all, Mark, what's it been like just being in Baltimore these last couple weeks?
It's been a whole lot of fun. I think the team's playing well. The fans are coming out and supporting us. It's pretty much all you can ask for. I think we're just looking forward to continuing and winning as many games as we can.
Now, you've been a veteran around here. You've played for 4 different teams, had a chance to play for your hometown team, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. You grew up in Orange County. What was that like the opportunity to be drafted by them and then to play for your hometown team? What was your Major League debut like?
As far as getting drafted by them, it was incredible. I grew up 10 minutes from the stadium. It was the team I rooted for as a kid, and it was kind of an interesting process. I was a pitcher when I got drafted, and there were some other teams that were maybe a tad more interested in the Angels, but I ended up getting drafted. They scouted me for quite a while. I ended up failing my physical because of some elbow issues, and then at that point I became a hitter. As far as my debut, it wasn't anything to write home about. It was a game that was close and it turned into a blowout. And I remember going up there semi-prepared, I guess, and striking out. And previous to that, I'd rode the pine for I don't know how many days on end. So the people that were coming to see that big debut, I think most of them were at home or so. So it just kind of the way it worked out.
That was September call-up in 2010, right?
Yeah, that's when it was.
Did you have a welcome to the majors moment? Did you have a moment where you thought, man, this is different than where I've been before?
Trying to think. I don't know if there was anything in particular. I remember my first hit, which I got the last at bat of that 2010 season. Went for a single with a couple RBIs in Texas, and I think that was about as cool a moment as I'd experienced. But I don't know. I guess playing against some of the guys, especially the Yankees, talking to Derek Jeter at second base, that's maybe one of those moments where you kind of pinch yourself, and it's kind of surreal.
Growing up, was baseball always the thing, or did you have other sports? Did you have other aspirations?
No, baseball was the main thing. I did play some basketball, but that stopped maybe I was about 14 when I put that to bed, and just focused on baseball. My dad was extremely passionate. He played briefly in college at USC, which is where I was going to go to, and so I kind of grew up with that same passion for the game.
Obviously, your power and your size, what people see now. Were you always the biggest boy in the class? The one of the strongest guys around?
I think all through Little League, I was probably one of the bigger kids. I think around 13, 14, some of the guys caught up, maybe surpassed me, and then I got back up to speed in high school. I think that's just kind of the progression. I was really good for a long time, had kind of a dip, and wasn't as good, especially with the bat. There were a couple of years where it was pretty bad. And then getting back into high school, I kind of turned it back on again and made varsity as a freshman, and it just kind of kept going.
Did you think that there was a possibility of you as a major league pitcher? I mean, was that something that was in your mind?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. They give out those awards for the predictions in those publications, and I think one of them I was rated as closest to the majors, at least as far as the high school class went. So Phil Hughes, who pitches for the Twins, was another guy right in the same area, and we were kind of neck and neck as far as local competition goes.
Okay, welcome back to Know Your O's with Dan Connolly and Mark Trumbo. This is Volume 2 because I couldn't figure out things in Volume 1 exactly. So now we're going to do this again. First of all, Mark, thanks for rejoining me here. And one thing we're going to talk about a little bit, you're from Southern California. You grew up rooting for the Angels, but football-wise, you didn't have a football team really to root for. So what was that like, and who did you root for?
Yeah, we didn't have a team close, so I probably didn't get into the sport as much as I would have. I got into it a little bit later, but I started watching the Chargers being in San Diego at some point, and I've been a big fan. I loved watching LaDainian Tomlinson play. He was awesome, and Phillip Rivers is another guy that I really enjoy. I like his tenacity, and he's not always a fan favorite with the other teams, but I think he's great. And so I've rooted for that team for quite a while now.
Good to see NFL back in LA.
I think it's going to be great. It's really, a huge market. Obviously, I think the fans will really get behind it, and a city that big, it makes perfect sense to have a team there.
Now, as a Southern California guy, In-N-Out Burger, overrated or awesome?
You can't say that's overrated. I know that it's probably biased, but it's a staple of Southern California. So I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's not overrated at all.
Is it the best burger you've had?
It's probably got to be. I mean, for a chain type place, it definitely probably it's the best that I can come up with.
Any place here you've been able to visit food-wise that you've kind of enjoyed so far? I know you've only been here, a few weeks or so.
Sure, I've been a few places that I like. Mama's on the Half Shell would probably be the one that I could name off the top of my head. I really like their food.
Now, one thing I didn't know about you, and someone told me, and I'm excited to talk to you about since I'm kind of a music guy myself, but you're a big music person and guitarist. You did some drumming, and you kind of collect guitars too. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I kind of out of nowhere. I was 13 or 14. I kind of got the idea that maybe I should play drums. I think one of the neighbor kids played bass, so you just want to be involved in something. So I got some drums, much to the chagrin of my neighbors, and took some lessons, and did that for a long time. And then sometime in my early 20s, one of my strength coach back home said he wanted to learn how to play guitar. So I didn't have anything going or hobbies at that time really, so I said sure, and just kind of kept going with it.
Now, you still play now, right? You still play mess around a little bit?
Sure, I play quite a bit. I have a few out here with me now. I buy some, sell some. Just kind of a cool hobby.
Now, you collect, and I'm not going to ask you how many you have, but what's the coolest, maybe one or two of the coolest pieces you have?
I got a couple that were gifted to me that I think are really cool. One of them is from the Ball family, Ernie Ball, the big string manufacturer, but they also make guitars too. And they were nice enough to gift me with one, and I have one on the way from, it's being made right now by PRS, which is a Maryland company, and fantastic people, and that's going to be here in the next couple of months.
When we talk about music, I kind of asked you what genre, and you went pretty much everywhere. So from 70s to 70s.
Not everywhere. Techno stuff, although okay. Very popular, has no interest. I at least don't really enjoy it, and I like 70s, 80s rock, 90s. Not so much the stuff that's coming out today. I like more, I guess, guitar-driven stuff. So,
if you had to pinpoint a favorite over the years,
Led Zeppelin.
Zeppelin, cool. What's on your iPod right now, or would you be listening to?
Most recently, Johnny Winter.
Really? So
yeah.
You said you were kind of getting into the blues and blues guitar a little bit?
Yeah, I like a bunch of stuff, but he's probably one of the most recent ones. Mike Bloomfield was on there too. But then I'm also running some newer records. I'm friends with some guys in a band called Thrice. That's my walkout song here too, and they're more contemporary, but that's another band that I'm listening to.
Do you mess around with the drums at all anymore?
Yeah. I'll get behind there when prompted.
Could you set up a band with some of these guys?
We got a little something going, not with the players, but there's some personnel here who can get behind it too.
Who'd be the lead singer of the Orioles if you had to pick a guy, your front man?
Dom Cheedy, probably. Without a doubt, I think he could. He's got the look, he's got the rock look, so he'd be my pick.
All right. This is Dan Connolly here with Mark Trumbo on Know Your O's. Thanks again, Mark. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.